Hey, do you guys remember elementary school track and field days? Like for some of you, it was like yesterday. Okay, so here's why those were the best day of the year, because you got either out of school or at least a half day of school, right? But besides that, for unathletic kids, it was like a nightmare. It was basically like get out of school to lose all day long day, right? It's like, okay, this is great. So we used to go up to St. Paul to the high school because St. Loghry didn't have a track. And here's the deal. We've covered this in previous weeks. I can walk, at this age, I could walk a mile as fast as I could run it. Not good. Not a natural athlete. Not a natural athlete at all at this point in my life. I may also mention that I went to St. Loghry District 118, and at this point in my life, I had 3 other boys in my class, okay? So what this meant was track and field day was all I have to do is run faster than Parker to get a prize. That's all it was. Like literally all I have to do is jump farther than Parker to win something. Yeah, so I kind of hated it a little bit because I wanted to win. I want to win! Quote, anybody? What's that from? Very nice. I'll give you a candy bar or something. Don't hold me to it. So I wanted to win. I wanted first place. I wanted a stinking prize, okay? But these 3 dudes, they'd always beat me in everything. And just a reminder, 4th place doesn't get a ribbon, do they? And it wasn't until about like 1999, you might have, no, none of you were probably in this situation. About 1999, all of us kids that never placed in anything started getting these purple ribbons that said, thanks for coming, and your hair looked great today, and you're special too, don't worry. It's like we didn't know what it was. It's like, obviously, that was the loser ribbon, you know? Like, that's not first, second, or third. Thanks for being here. You're a very nice boy. But it's okay. I mean, like, if I cared, and if I wanted to be athletic, I probably wouldn't eat as many Little Debbies as I did at that point, you know? Like, it was my choice. I chose this body, okay? So I made these decisions. We want to be first. We want to be first in things, in competitions and in life. And we have this struggle of putting things in first place. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. What gets first place in your life? We've been told we deserve first place, whether we win or not. And that these certain advertisements sell products that need to be first place. But I think the Bible is teaching us something different that will make life a lot more enjoyable, a lot less stressful, and a lot less like a field and track day in elementary school. Sorry to bring up those memories to everyone. Matthew, chapter 6, verse 28 through 34. And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow. They do not labor or spin, yet I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? So do not worry, saying that what shall we eat? What shall we drink? What shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. We're talking about the struggles that we have and the needs that we have. The struggle for possessions, these things that worry us, they often get first place in our mind, right? They often get this priority in our thought life. But Jesus then says, seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you. Saying, hey, put God first in life, and then like he'll take care of all this stuff, okay? Put God first in life, saying that he should have the first place spot. So how do we get these things out of first place and God into first place? There will be a struggle, but it'll be well worth it. We have this need for something in first place, whether we know it or not. There's this God-sized seat that we try to put things in this first place position in our lives. And we try to put so many things in first place that don't belong there. So what do we put in first place? What gets top priority? Here's the filter I think will help. Here you go. If it can rot, if it can end, if it can stop breathing, and if it can be taken from you, and you've put it in first place, you've chosen poorly. These things will not shelter you in a storm, and they will not save you when you die. Sometimes we put ourselves first, just like we struggle to get first place in a field and track meet, right? We struggle putting ourselves in first place in our own lives, but why wouldn't we? We've grown up in a world where we've been told to do just that. You're the gatekeeper of your own destiny. If you believe in yourself, you can do anything. You can do anything you want to. And forget people who tell you no. Ooh, bold and sassy and stupid. Thank you. Essentially what we're doing if we buy into this idea is saying, I'm the gatekeeper of my own destiny. Basically we're saying, I'm my own God. And I know there's those of you out there that put this weight on yourselves to be your own God, not only in your life, but also for your parents. So your father and your mother have something to worship. They worship your sports, and then your grades, and your singing, and your dancing, and your role in the musical, and you become a God to yourself and to them. So what happens when you fail? What happens when you are unhappy with yourself? You are failing you. Your God is failing you. People spend their whole lives worshiping themselves and their own happiness and satisfaction and comfort. And you hear this story over and over again where people had it all and then they get to the end and they got nothing. They say it's not enough. It doesn't work. The thing that got first place, top priority, has failed. You are a puny God. What happens when you stop breathing? Are you going to save yourself? If you've put yourself in first place, you've chosen poorly. You have a need for something else in first place, something that cannot die. I could do an hour segment on how humans put physical and material possessions in first place, how they put money in this first place role. And if we do that, we've once again chosen poorly. We need something else to take first place. We need something that can't rot and can't be taken from you and cannot be destroyed. Activities. The amount of weight that is on some of you in your extracurricular activities is insane. Not to mention the first place seat it gets in your life. You worship it and you adore it more than anything else, more than family and friends and your own soul. The idea here is that it's your complete identity. And it kind of ties into being your own God, but now you also have a place to worship yourself. All your hope and joy and satisfaction and emotion is poured out into this sport or this season or this event, and it can end. And it will end. And your false God will cease to exist. And when the storm comes, your position on the team, your role in the musical, your seat in band, your button on the quiz bowl team will not shelter you. It will not save you when you die. If you put your activities in first place, you have chosen poorly. You need something else in first place, something that can never end. Sometimes we put a single person in first place, and we can do this, but when this happens, bad things happen. We start out as loyalty and love are the words we use, which are good ones. But those words aren't from a healthy place in our heart, and it's really easy to switch out those words just a little later on with insecurity and desperate. And you put this person in a God-sized seat in your life, and then you begin to suck the life out of them, and you begin to drag them down with you as you go. They're only human, but you expect them to have these God-sized things and give you God-sized satisfaction. And all of a sudden, news breaks. They stopped breathing. Or they're liars and they're thieves. Or they took advantage of you. Or they're leaving. And you stand there godless, with an empty, God-sized chair trying to figure out, what now will I worship? What now will I put in first place? The storm comes and a human cannot shelter you. When you stop breathing, something that can also stop breathing will not save you. You have a need for something else in first place, something that will not die. And the list goes on and on with anything and everything. What's your priority? What's your first place in life? What is getting that spot? What is getting the God-sized seat? Will it rot? Will it end? Will one day stop breathing? Will it be taken from you? Can it be taken from you? I can pretty much tell you from experience and from all these examples and more that only God fits the God-sized seat. He cannot rot. And he cannot end. And he cannot die. And he cannot be taken from me. And he cannot be taken from you. To prioritize God in life is to put him first. And it's the best decision you could ever make as a human being living on planet Earth. And I'm in good company when I say this. Jesus said, seek God first. And put him in first place. And all these things will be taken care of. All your worries, all your needs. These things I listed are good. They're good. Your possessions, the people you love, the things you do with your talents and your abilities, they're good. That's why you get them. But they're only good when they're put in the right place. And they rot when they're in first. Jesus is saying, instead of worrying about these things, put him first and he'll take care of it. I'm not saying everything will be comfy, cozy, easy. But he reassures us that our Heavenly Father knows the things you need in life. And he will give them to you exactly when you need them. So don't worry. God gets first place because he is the only one that fits the God-sized seat. Okay, so what's the characteristics? What's the requirements of the God-sized seat? What is it? I want to use a quick philosophical thought explaining the universe is created out of having a cause. And that cause is God. The example shows the characteristics of God. And for this example, to show you the characteristics and requirements of the God-sized seat. Follow along. If the universe has a cause, then an uncaused personal creator of the universe exists, who, regardless of the universe, is beginningless, changeless, immaterial, timeless, spaceless, and enormously powerful. It follows, therefore, an uncaused personal creator of the universe exists, who, regardless of the universe, is beginningless, changeless, immaterial, timeless, spaceless, and enormously powerful. Again, that is beginningless, changeless, immaterial, timeless, spaceless, and enormously powerful. Powerful enough to create the universe. You do not have to fully understand this. All you have to understand is that there is nothing on this earth that will fit that description. Nothing. That's what your God-sized seat requires. That is what your inherent default requirement for first place in your human life and in your soul requires for satisfaction. And now it makes sense why everything else fails. You tell me something else that can logically sit in that seat. Conclusion, God wins this contest and is the only plausible thing that could possibly be in first place in your life and in my life. And the only thing that can fit the God-sized seat. So now that we know the answer, what's the benefit of this? Why would we put God in first place? What do we get out of this? Jesus actually gives an illustration of someone who put God and his truth in first place. The wise man built his house upon the rock. All my church kids are like, ooh, know that one. Just kidding. So Jesus just got done ripping this new teaching that was blowing everyone's minds, and then he said this. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice, or in first place, is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the wind blew and beat against the house, and yet it did not fall, because it had a foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice, or in first place, is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the wind blew, and beat against the house, and it fell with a great crash. What's in first place in your life is your foundation to build your life on. The thing that sits in the God-sized seat is the foundation you build on. Build your life on the truth and hope of God. It's the only foundation that will withstand the storm, and the storm will come. What would your life look like if it had a sturdy foundation. Because the rain will come. And I want you to think of the rain as bad things that are out of your control. You can see them coming on the horizon, but they're completely out of your control. You see trouble coming in your family, for example. Someone got sick. Mom and dad are fighting again. You see trouble coming. But because of a sturdy foundation, you can withstand the storm. And you can have shelter in a house that you've built with God's word, and you can find protection in the words of God. And the streams will rise. I want you to think of the streams as these words of others. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I'm calling horse manure on that because you know exactly how much words hurt. I know exactly how much words hurt. Words start wars. Words tear families apart. Words end lifelong friendships. Words kill. And I want you to think of the stream of words as your notifications, your social feeds, the information you're receiving from the world, the bad news landing on your hearts, and the streams will rise. Have you ever felt like you were drowning? Not like a physical hand is holding you down, but there's just so much just flowing over you that you can't breathe, and it's choking you out. Because of God's truth, you can breathe. And you have a way out. And the wind will blow. I want you to think of things that you can't see coming. And all of a sudden, you're knocked off your path. And all of a sudden, for example, you realize you're in the bad crowd. Or worse yet, all of a sudden, you realize you're the ringleader of the bad crowd. It's like, have you ever seen this? Have you ever seen like one of those plastic bags just get ripped away by the wind? Just the power of it. It has no power at all and just goes and it's gone. Didn't see it coming. But now it is completely powerless and just hoping that it snags on a branch. And maybe that's you. The wind has blown you off course. A force has pushed you from where you're headed. God provides a foundation that will not and cannot move in the storm. God will be there when the wind dies down. Listen, the storm will come. Jesus tells people who are following him, he says, hey, the storm will come. It's not if, it's when. But because of your foundation, you have the choice to not be shaken and to not be moved. So how do you put God in first place in your life and to build a firm foundation on? One of the things I wanted to do tonight was give you something that can equip you. Something that you can put into action and make sure God's first in your life. Number one, know the truth in Scripture. I don't know how many students or how many people I've had conversations with that are confused about something in life or frustrated. And they want answers. They want a fix. And I go, well, man, have you read the Bible? Have you checked? No. Man, have you ever read a gospel? You ever read that? No. Do you know what Jesus says? Or what anything that he said? No. And you believe in him? You guys, this is our lifeline. I'm convicted of this too. You have to open the Bible to see what it says. And God will speak. That's why he gave you these letters from his Spirit for you to read. You know what? Jesus shut down Satan himself in the desert. And the way that he did that was he quoted the Bible. That was it. He had truth to point to and say, no. That's a lie. This is truth. Start with the gospel. Start with a reading plan on your YouVersion Bible app. Did you know if you read the Bible for 10 minutes every single day, you could read the entire Bible in a year? Do it. I'm with you. I'm working my way through it right now. I'm in the same boat you guys are in. I'm only 5 years into this whole Christian thing. Let's do it. Ephesians 6 says, be prepared. You're up against far more than you can handle on your own. Take all the help you can get, every weapon God has issued, so that when it's all over, but the shouting, you'll still be on your feet. Truth, righteousness, peace, faith, and salvation, these are more than words. Learn how to apply them. You'll need them throughout your life. God's word is an indispensable weapon. Second, have faith in Jesus. Jesus is referred to as the cornerstone of the building's foundation, aka your faith, aka your life. The cornerstone is a piece that, due to its position, takes the role of holding the entire building together. And he's willing to do that with your life. And in the same way, when removed, the entire building crumbles. The cornerstone must be in place during the storm. Ephesians 2 says, the kingdom of faith is now your home country. You're no longer strangers or outsiders. You belong here with as much right to the name Christian as anyone. God is building a home, and he's using us all, irrespective of how we got here and what he is building. He used the apostles and the prophets for a foundation. Now he's using you, fitting you in brick by brick, stone by stone, with Christ Jesus as the cornerstone that holds it all together. You must have faith in Jesus. Hebrews 12 says, keep your eyes on Jesus, who both began and finished this race we're in. Study how he did it, because he never lost sight of where he was headed. That exhilarating finish in and with God, he could put up with anything along the way, the cross, shame, whatever. And now he's there in the place of honor, right alongside God, the God-sized seat. When you find yourself flagged in your faith, go over the story again, item by item. That long litany of hostility he plowed through, that will shoot adrenaline into your souls. Third, find hope in prayer. We talked about prayer last week. This is a solid foundation to build on, and you don't deserve it, but you have a connection to God, and you can use it whenever you need. And Satan wants nothing more than you to believe that you don't have that connection, and you do. We have to use it. This will put God first in our life. Ephesians 6 also says, in the same way, prayer is essential in this ongoing warfare, the storm. Pray hard and long. Pray for your brothers and your sisters. Keep your eyes open. Keep each other's spirits up so that no one falls behind or drops out. Put God in the seat that only he can fill. Make him first in your life, and he will take care of the rest. Have faith in Jesus. Look to Jesus as the cornerstone that will hold it all together. Amen? I'm going to pray. Will you bow your heads? Pray with me. God, on these nights, I'm just so reminded that I am just a man. And I just get to come out here and tell these students what I'm learning. I'm right in the trenches with them. I'm in the same boat. I get confused and I get lost too. But we're all in this together. So I pray for the student right now that's sinking in the stream and in the rain and in the wind. I pray that you grab them. I pray that they reach up to you and say, I'm done trying to do this on my own. I'm done trying to be my own God. And I pray that you give them the faith and the strength to tell someone. I believe in Jesus. And I need him. And I need your help. This wasn't meant to be done alone. Change can happen in a moment. And I know that from experience, God. You've worked miracles in my life. And you've worked miracles in some of these students' lives. I pray if that's you, your heart is just on fire right now. I pray that you don't miss it. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to know everything. You just get to begin building the foundation with God.